Welcome everyone to the Living Consciously TV show, coming to you live from our Denver, Colorado TV studios, and also streaming on YouTube Live, as well as Google Hangouts and ConsciousEvolutionMedia.com. And I'm your host and moderator, Coach Steve Toth, and our theme today is how music can break through the thickest walls that we build. Our guest today is Pamela Garand, and she joins us from the beautiful place up north. They say sometimes our sister country, Canada. Is that true?
Yes, absolutely. Sister, brother.
Well, welcome, Pamela.
Thank you.
And let me introduce our guest today as well. We have, on the very left-hand side, we have Linda Dyer. She's joining us from Australia, that place where the kangaroos are running free. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. I haven't seen one for days, so I don't know where I am.
And then next to Linda on the right is Nina de Verderosa. She's joining us from Las Vegas, the place where the lights never go out. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Steve. It's great to be here. We are now in the middle of a thunderstorm, so with temperatures have dropped down to 90, I love, but it's pouring with rain. So it cleans the place up, if Vegas could ever get clean.
Yeah, let's keep our fingers crossed so electricity doesn't go out, and we had that here yesterday, so let's make sure that it doesn't happen during the show. And last but not least, Dori Kasicki. He's joining us from that place called New York, the Big Apple. Welcome to the show.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hi. And what really fascinates me about Pamela, and really we don't know yet what she can do, but we will find out during the hour. But she's a singer, a songwriter, and she's a sound healer. And when I found out that she was a sound healer, that is really fascinating. So let's start with that. How do you use sound as a healing tool?
Well, I feel like I can speak about it a bit, and I will do that. But may I begin with a sound, Coach Steve?
Absolutely.
What I really would like to convey in the time we have together here is that sound offers us a vibrational bridge to our undefended heart. And I really feel like our world is so fragmented. We are suffering from the disease of disconnect. So for me, I experience music and sound as a way to really drop down from the tyranny of the mind, from the busyness of the day, from the demands we have on us. We literally live, if we are conductors in our lives, the score that we have all around us is incredibly staccato. You know, we're constantly being inundated with these staccato rhythms. Our healing comes, and our intuition and our higher consciousness comes when we are deeply relaxed. And that comes from a rhythm that is legato and smooth and slow and deep. So I have here a Shruti box.
Oh, I love that.
So this is from India, and with my mic here, are you picking it up a little bit?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
You can hear it?
Yeah.
So this Shruti box, I can show it to you, is a little bit, it's got frets.
I have goosebumps already. I don't know if you
Okay.
can see them.
So I've really been coming into a place of learning from the wise elephant Ganesh from the Hindu tradition, who shows us with his visage that we have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. So that we will listen more and talk less.
There you go.
So I'm very chatty, and I love to talk about music and its profound ability to heal, but I really want to go into the meat of the matter, and if you're a vegetarian, the tofu or the eggplant, right away. So I invite you to, with feet on the floor, and you may even want to close your eyes, begin to let your breath breathe you. Begin to feel this space and time we call now. And allow your inner listening to now open the gate in your heart to fully and truly receive this medicine song I will share. Evening arise, spirit come. Sun goes down when the day is done. Mother Earth awakens me with the heartbeat of the sea. I see with my inner eye, and here I know, I cry, and from the depths I learn to love. And here we rise, each one. We have come to listen deep, to receive. So we enter in. So that was just a little taste of some medicine song.
Oh, well, now we're all asleep.
Or deeply relaxed.
No, that was absolutely beautiful. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
really,
you.
have us floating.
Yes.
Yeah, let that be healing for everyone.
Yes.
It's very healing. Wow.
So that's entrainment. We, for those of you who know the principles of heart math, ideally what we want to have is the brain and the heart in coherence. So sound offers us a gateway into that resonant field where we are grounded and open and ready to receive and able to take the slings and arrows that the day may bring us.
Very well said.
Now, how do we top this?
We've all been put into silence, so I guess we're now all going to wake up. And it's funny you should talk about this because I've been writing some sonnets lately, and it's all about going into a place of dreaming, and the brain getting lost and the music waking it up. And it's every single sonnet I've written about 12 of them now. And every one of them is, and I didn't know this about you, but every one of them is connected to the music and the brain in every single one of them, and it's just out of my own feeling is where I put that. So I'm listening to a lot of these like Mother Earth awakens me.
Right.
You know, it's like grounding yourself, and it's just so beautiful to listen to this. So I wrote down an awful lot of your words because they're just so meaningful and just so true to the point of where we're at, where majority of us don't know that we're there.
Thank you, Ninon. And I want to honor you for diving into your creative world, because for me, that's what I'm devoted to. There is a beautiful quote that says, "Catch on fire with enthusiasm, and people will come for miles to watch you burn." So don't we want nothing more than to be alive in our lives and lit up and feeling creative and feeling like we're doing what we've come here to do? And really, I think the majority of the pain and the suffering in our world is because we have all bought this bill of goods that we, have come here to buy stuff, to fill our house full of stuff, to sit on the couch, to watch the TV that gives us advertisements that convince us that we need to buy more stuff, and we've become disconnected from our innate creativity, which is the greatest joy, is to create something out of nothing, to be in the place where the divine feminine speaks to us. And we've lived for centuries in a world where the masculine, and we are a balance of masculine and feminine, but we have lived for centuries where that has been the dominant force. And what is happening to our world and the planet and the environment is a direct cost of us being cut off from our creativity. So we're in a place where the divine feminine is begging us to sing and write and paint and dance ourselves back to life, because we are all taking antidepressants. Well, none of us on this panel, and not the people listening, I'm sure. But the world is going to their doctor and saying, I'm sick, I'm depressed, I'm anxious. And there's a great quote that says, the shaman says, I hear you, my child, you are ill. I have one question to ask you. When did you stop dancing? When did you stop singing?
That's when she became sick.
Exactly. The disconnect.
But it's a great point that you make about bringing the heart and the head together, because that old adage of mind over matter, I just wish it had never been said, because people rely on that so much, whereas even, like you say, we do entrainment in Master Prac NLP, and one of the biggest things is saying connect your heart and your head, listen to your body, and also listen to your head, but don't have your head ruling your body all the time. It's in a way, it's bastardizing. I mean, I had that happen to get lupus, so I get where it comes from. One of the most beautiful things that I saw with music recently was my son, as you know, is also a singer.
Yes.
And he was on stage, and he'd recently been married, and he was singing a love song, and he was looking straight at his new wife. And the little tears were running down his face, because like you, he gets so emotional about his music. And this old lady came out of the audience, walked up to the stage, and she said, thank you. When my husband died, I thought love had died with him. But you have brought love back into my heart today. And I really got it right then and there, like you saying, that through music, through creativity, we can bring anything back. We just need to listen more and take it in. Like you had us floating through that song, literally floating, and it was wonderful. Thank you.
Well, I really had goosebumps throughout the whole thing, and I don't know if anybody else on the cast experienced that at all, or anything in your spine. Because when I'm present to, something this, I guess I'll say the word spiritual, that's what happens. I immediately react to it by, my hair on my arms stand up, and I get goosebumps, and I start feeling the frequency, the energy of the music, in my spine, and all I do is I just yield to it.
No, that's actually your energy coming to life. It's you are now
that's all there is to do.
Well, and you know what else it is, Coach Steve, is a friend of mine, Jeff Brown, who is a beautiful author, he calls those goosebumps truth bumps. So when we encounter something that feels so true in our body, our physiology literally responds. And to Linda, to your point, when you're talking about that beautiful story and the song and the woman who responded, back to your very first sentence, because we talked months ago, actually, Coach Steve, about what we would title tonight, about how music can break down the biggest walls that we've created. That comes down to the fact that we are encouraged to be highly cerebral. We are encouraged to be linear and organized and on task. And that's a very masculine way of being.
I don't think we're built for that.
No, but the first world is very much based on encouraging and admiring, and it's a seduction to be in that mode of being. But the feminine way is very interior, very receptive, and very connected to the heart and our emotions. And the walls that we erect as we are older, as we become adults, are because we have felt so deeply everything in the world, the great dance of duality. We have felt the incredible heights of joy, the pain of heartbreak. We have felt betrayal. So we end up building these thick walls that in the end, what happens is our heart is no longer transparent. We can no longer give and receive in the same active, vital, beautiful exchange way. So it kind of becomes this defense, but then we're not feeling much anymore. And I'll tell you, I've had people that have come to my concerts. I had one fellow that said, can you sign this CD for my wife? Write it to Lynn. You can stop crying now. The concert's over. And you know, I've had people come that say, you're literally here to open our tear ducts. Well, they have become cemented shut because we're afraid to feel. Because it's so powerful. We're afraid of our own power.
Well
Yeah,
said.
definitely
So
we are.
what's going on over there with Tori? Tori's been really quiet.
No, I'm just
Just
thinking.
checking in.
I just came from a 7-day session with one of my teachers, Melchizedek, and you know, one of the things we talked about all week was embracing the femininity, especially now as we're entering the age of Aquarius and leaving the previous sense of masculinity, and how difficult it is today for many men to embrace their feminine side and the problems that it creates for them. And I've always been in touch with my feminine side. It's never been an issue for me. However, I have a son who's was with me during this process we've just been going through called Ascension, and I had to leave him behind. He's still there. He's going to probably be there for another 3 or 4 days. And the reason is he is not intact with his femininity at all. And he's so closed that his energy is blocked because of it. And we talk about embracing music, we talk about embracing art, we talk about embracing nature in order to bring it about. So the timing for this particular show is just really ironic, because and then, you know, of course it's not by coincidence, and nothing is. But to be able to teach people how to, because to be honest with you, when you say to somebody you have to embrace your femininity, but you don't really tell them how, well, you just say do some art, you know, or do some gardening. It's not very clear to most males, and some females as well don't embrace their femininity. So I think your message is beautiful, and I think that more people need to hear this message, because to have the balance in your life is critical for us to move forward into the next dimension.
Beautifully
And the
said.
femininity is all around receiving, like you were saying, Tori, and Pam. It's that receiving part of us. So we're, you know, in order to get attention, I think as a child, it's all about, you know, look at me, look at me, look at me, and it's all about that doing and that masculine side. And so I think somewhere along the line, unless it's taught as a very young age, we're not really taught to receive. How many times are we given something and we fob it off? Oh, you didn't have to do that. Or even a compliment where someone says, "Gee, that's a nice jacket," and you go, "Oh, you know, it was a cheapie down at Target or whatever."
Right.
And we
That
and we
deflecting.
fob
Always
off
avoid it. We avoid the compliment.
And
rather
not only
than take it in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
The art of receiving is absolutely, and it was interesting because Mother Teresa had the initial art of receiving, and that's what somebody said years ago. If you could just watch the way she received, people could not stop giving to her because of the way she received everything that she was given. That beautiful art of, and my mum was like that. She had, you know, you could give her a cardigan or something, and when you went to visit her, she would be wearing it, and you'd think, oh, I can't wait to buy her another one, because it was just so beautiful. That where my dad would say, why would you want to do that with an old man like me? And I think, oh, and then you wouldn't do it. So it was just a really interesting difference, and I've learnt a lot about that art of receiving, and thank you for readdressing it.
But it's funny how music has sort of stayed in this world forever and ever, and in each sort of country has different music, but it all has kind of the same meaning. And you've probably lived around a little bit, Pamela, but if you go to different
definitely.
countries, the
Yes.
Middle East, and then you go to Asia, and you've got Europe, and then you've got England, and then Scotland with the bagpipes and the Irish, and you've got all these different, but they all mean the same thing to the people receiving it. And I think a lot of people sort of take it for granted that the music is there, and yet it's so important in our lives of what music we listen to actually get ourselves going in whatever direction we need or at that particular time. And there's so many different ways in your day that you need certain parts of music. You know, sometimes you might need the loud music, and then you want the soft music, and then you want other music. And it's funny how this music has sort of got into our bodies, and so many people don't use it, and it's out there for free.
Yes. Well, yeah, and these days a little bit too much that way for those of us that like to make our living that way. But that's a whole other topic. But yes, and speaking to everything that you've all just said right now, back to you, Linda, and the receptivity and how we deflect, and Tori, your discussion about your son and the divine masculine, and encouraging men to embrace their femininity, and likewise with women and their masculinity. And I love that all of this, again, is a discussion about what we think we have to do or we should do. And again, it's the mind trying to catalog and make sense of it. And music, by its very nature, is simply an invitation. It is a universal language, and it invites us into the heart. And that's where I say, as you mentioned, Nino, in every culture, for centuries, there has been, music in the Aboriginal outback, right, Linda? The didgeridoo was the very masculine instrument used. In the Celtic world, it would be more of, say, a kitchen party with a ceilidh and fiddles and everybody stamping their feet. But or Africa, if it's in Africa and it's in the center of a village, and whether it would be for a funeral or for a wedding march or a child being born, the way they would call the people together would not be sending an email. Guys got to come now. This is what they would. This would be the.
It's an email.
This is the email.
Text.
The Morse code, the language that takes them into the mystery, and the heartbeat is the drum, and we all have a heartbeat.
It is funny how that drum noise will float and ripple through the air, and you can hear it for miles.
Exactly. So the shamans and the bards in all traditions would use the drum to call the people together, and used ceremonially. And I like to say that it's only been recently, like perhaps in the past 100 years, and especially in the past few decades, that we've lost our sense of community and using music as a tool to come together and to feel and reveal what is arising to be healed. Because it was always used in this way. Now we pay the great god Ticketmaster to go into an arena with 2,000 other people to watch somebody else do it for us, and we have a catharsis, and whether it's Katy Perry or Sting or Elton John or whoever, Blake Shelton, if you're into country music, whatever the music venue is, we gather in those ways because we are still ceremonially yearning to be touched, to feel those truth bumps, to come together, to live, to die by this place because we are ultimately all vibration. We're yearning to connect in that way. So in the sound healing workshops that I do and in the one-on-one, it's kind of like Linda, it would be like a vibrational NLP. Yeah. It's a sound massage. It's an opportunity for people to grieve, to laugh, to cry, to weep, to absolutely just let go of any artifice of needing to achieve, have an outcome, and to just feel what's present in their heart at that moment. That's what it's
like. Yeah, well, I think
what we call it is having a catharsis and being right. So it's emptying out, and
Yes.
feeling wonderful about who you are. You mentioned Africa. I've just come back from there. I did 2 weeks
Yes. No.
voluntary work over there. I've got a village that we're sponsoring. And while I was there, one of the most amazing things was 1.5 million people got together at this martyr. It's a pilgrimage, and some of those people walked 10 and 12 days to get to this place. And there was music. The thing that really, it was almost like a magnet for me, but when we arrived, all we could hear was the music, the drums, the choir. Now this went on for 8 hours, and that music never stopped unless somebody that was seemingly important, like the president, spoke. And it was almost like they had to let go of the music so he could speak. But then the music would start up again. We were dancing. As we walked, we danced, and it was really interesting because we just embraced the music as if we were the Africans.
Yes.
One with them, and it was interesting that the pictures that got in the paper were of us, of all the people, because we were just one with the natives. It was gorgeous.
Yes.
I loved it. It was the most beautiful celebration. And then I heard that they had to walk another 10 or 12 days to go home. So people came that far to embrace the music and to be one with their fellow people.
Right.
Absolutely brilliant.
And you didn't need to be able to speak the language.
No.
You know what I mean? Like it is a universal language and a universal experience, and it's such a beautiful way to build community and to be without judgment and to be, again, in the heart. And it's not about in exclusion to the mind. It's actually a marriage of the mind, body, and spirit is what it offers.
And you're right, though, that we don't know if they're celebrating a death or a marriage, because I remember going through Africa in the 70s, and I remember jumping over the fires with the pygmies, and I'm thinking, are they celebrating something happy or are they celebrating a death? Because they celebrate everything with music. And I didn't know. I was just doing what they did. And I thought, wow, I love this whole scenario of life. And the kids, before they go to school, it's all music. There's no, national anthem, or there's no speech from the principal. It's music. So before they go into school.
And what you've just described there, again, this is where in my practice and in my work and in my devotion, I just have released a new CD called The Sound of the Dove, and it's 11 songs, and really I created and crafted and fashioned each one of them as an individual medicine bundle. Some of them are up tempo, some of them are slower, but in that way they were created as an offering for this incredible time of challenge and chaos on the world, but for people to be able to navigate these narrows and understand that actually these times are an incredible time of being cracked open to this ascension, to this self-realization, to this collective evolution. So when you spoke about the celebration and the community event and the children, most of the time music gets parceled out to that. It's for kids. We send our kids to music lessons. You don't have to teach a 7-year-old to be in their natural way. They will sing, they will laugh, they will dance, they will share their voice with you. But as we get older, we become self-conscious, and the ego says, or someone in your life said, you can't sing, you're off key, don't, just mouth the words, don't join the chorus. And there's actually, yes, and there is a collective neurosis around our primordial desire to share our voice. This actually makes me want to cry, because we have been told, be quiet, when I encourage people to bring their voice.
That's true. The first 5 years of your life is don't do this and don't do that and be quiet and don't make so much noise and shut you up, shut you up, shut you up. I want to ask you a question. How do you get into creating your lyrics? Where do you put yourself when you want to create the lyrics? Because I haven't listened to any of your songs yet, and the one you just did. But where do you go and how do you get yourself into that beautiful tranquility of an empty brain, I call it, and just clearing it all out and creating?
Well, you say the empty brain, and I borrow from the native tradition, and I say the hollow bone.
Okay.
How can I become the hollow bone or the empty flute to allow spirit to blow through me? Well, it's an interesting process, my creative process, because I can feel the prompting of an inspiration when I am walking my dogs in the forest. One of the songs that I wrote on my most recent album called Unadorned came to me after I'd sung at a peace event in Toronto, where two young American soldiers were speaking about being war resistors and how they decided not to go back to Afghanistan because they had committed incredible acts of violence and they couldn't see themselves going back. And as I heard them speak about the fact that they were now exiled from their own homeland, I drove home and I walked my dogs in the woods and I thought about we two-leggeds and how insane we are and how we speak. We have rules and we have ways that we say we are sovereign and we believe in each other's freedom, but we don't. In the end, we have so many trappings and ways that we hamper this freedom. And so I'm walking with my dogs, and it just came to me, no burden of words. Oh, the silence is deep. There's a give and take to this love that's so sweet. There's a smile in your eyes as we walk through the woods. The day has begun, and it's so good. This is a love unadorned. And when the battles are won and I walk through that door, you are my shelter from the storm. You ask no questions. Raise no objections. Offer affection unadorned. So the words just came filtering down as I was walking my dogs. But I can be in a busy cafe and get a hit from a conversation, but the most recent record I have, though, I have to say that the majority of those songs actually were birthed from singing on stages with a lot of the new thought leaders and authors in our world. 7 years ago, I opened for Deepak Chopra, and then a few years later, Byron Katie and James Twyman, and then Bruce Lipton. And Barbara Marx Hubbard put the exclamation point on it because she said, "Oh, honey, you're singing the anthems of conscious evolution." She said, "You're being vocationally aroused." And I said,
I love it.
I'd read all these people's books, and then I found myself writing songs. Like there's a song called Emerging that I wrote after hearing Barbara and Bruce Lipton speak in Philadelphia. I came home, I sat down at my piano on a Sunday afternoon, and this human dance of duality came through my fingers with a melody, and I all of a sudden heard, "I am the fire, I am the spark. I am the light, I am the dark. You are the poem, you are the prayer. We are the truth, we are the dare. We are emerging." So lately it's been more of these songs really do feel like songs for conscious evolution. So I guess that's why I'm on this show, right, Steve?
Yeah, you just a tremendous fit. So I just wanted to say earlier, somebody mentioned chaos. I don't know who, doesn't matter. But there's tremendous chaos in Denver right now. The president is here. But besides that, I'm really curious about something. And what I'm curious about is earlier in the show you were talking about all this negativity. And the major one I feel that you left out, and we have to complete this, is that when we turn on the television, especially news, besides the weather, all we get is how we kill each other.
Yeah.
And it goes on nonstop. And I don't know if I have to remind anybody that's watching the show that we are still at war, although they don't talk about it anymore on television. I'm sure there are reasons, which I'm not sure of, but doesn't really matter. But what I'm curious about is that there are thousands of men and some women at war giving orders to kill. And all these men, I want to speak specifically about the men, they have a woman behind them, either their wife, their girlfriend, or their mother. And I understand and I feel that women have tremendous influence, especially right now, in the ages that we're going through right now and the frequencies that are changing on the planet. What is it going to take when we're going to begin to see that women really can influence men so that this stuff doesn't go on anymore? It's got to stop.
Well, behind every successful man is a woman. The old saying, right? That's what they say.
And millions of
That's
people
as far as
every
it
day.
gets, you know. It's,
You were talking about gathering, and that's what I was thinking about. I'm going, oh my God. Pamela is talking about gathering, listening to music, and dancing, and what we're doing, especially here in America, is we're gathering in front of the television, watching, killing each other.
Okay, well, does anybody else want to leap in there? Because I do.
no, I want to listen to you. Go on, Pamela.
Oh, as you say that, Coach Steve, beyond every mother marching to their town square with their babies and their children in arms and creating a worldwide chain of living resistance, or shall I say, I don't like the word resistance, but an absolute challenge to saying we will not allow any more of our men, our boys, our husbands, the fathers to die, and create some kind of living bodily barricade. I mean, I know that's not practical, but I do know that thoughts are things, and I do know that the word was the first thing on the planet. And whether you go to the Bible or the Torah or whatever your spiritual tradition is, beyond that, everything is vibration. And we are capable of transforming consciousness. I'm sure many of your guests on this show have spoken to it. We, with our intentions and our hearts together and our prayers and our songs, I believe the mother, the earth, she's not only calling to us through the weather, she is smacking us upside the head. We are getting a kick in the pants. And so we are either going to go down for the count with her, or we can rise up singing. And I say a call to arms, a call to action, but not arms that have bullets. But arms that are joined together, and arms that are on our hearts. When you think about a mother cradling her child and singing a lullaby, there is no greater power in the world than a mother's prayer for her child or a mother's lullaby for her baby. It is the very vibrational connection from our womb to God. And I swear, a song came to me after I was at Dialogues of the Heart with Don Miguel Ruiz 2 years ago when he was speaking about this. He who had just had his heart transplanted. He's a man with a young girl's body, heart in his body. I don't know if people know that, but Don Miguel said, I was about to put my affairs in order and perhaps leave this world, but Creator had a different story. There he was, this beautiful, masculine male figure with this heart of a young girl. And he took my hands, and after I'd sung the 2 songs that were planned, he said, I offered a prayer. And I basically offered up a prayer that we may come to our senses before it's too late. That we may awaken and arise to the love that dwells within our hearts as a common cry to collaborate and create, to compassion and courage as opposed to competition and destruction. And after I said this prayer, he said, okay, sing that for us now. And I went, what do you mean, like right now? And he goes, yeah, put your hands on the keyboard. And you don't want to say no to Don Miguel Ruiz, so I did it. But it was in the moment, and then he took me by the hands after the conference and he said, you go away. You go and write that song about the fact that we are all angels in disguise. And it was dead of winter here in Stratford, Ontario, Canada, where I have this gorgeous old growth forest 3 blocks from my house. And I went walking and it was like Narnia. Do we have a couple minutes for me to, yes. I won't sing it loud, for me to quietly share what came to me?
Yeah.
So this is when he gave me the direction to write the medicine song for our planet at this time. This is what came. Oh, won't you come with me to the pearly gates of song, where you don't have to die to feel like you belong, for the company of heaven is a chorus here on earth. each soul with a note to play in this symphony of birth. Welcome to the new earth. Ah, ah. And we sing of our deception, we sing of our disgrace, centuries of war and greed, the land that we've laid waste. But our mother, she forgives us, and her wisdom falls like rain. The winds are blowing stronger now. These are the winds of change. Welcome, the winds of change. We are angels in disguise, starlight falling from your eyes, reaching upward through the night. One by one, we find the light. My dog's gonna join in. Can you hear the love that's calling? The old is giving way. The orchestra is everything, and we have come to play for the company of heaven. It's a chorus sweet and strong, each soul with a note to play, here where we belong, at the pearly gates. Song, we are angels in disguise.
Wow.
Okay.
That's outrageous.
My dog thought so too. Usually
they joined in as part of the chorus.
Yeah.
That's
I mean, that's a song that we could use to march with.
That's track 11 on my new CD, and it's and you know what? As you say, marching, it's very interesting. My producer, Mark Lalama, when I sang it to him a cappella, he's a piano player. The first day we recorded, he picked up this giant marching drum that he has in his studio, and that's the only accompaniment to that song on the record, is a marching drum.
Wow.
Steve,
you nailed it.
With Pamela's permission, Steve, that could be the opening song to our program.
Well, you can listen to the CD and find which one fits. And I'd love you to use my music because that's what I created it for, Conscious Evolution.
There you go.
Yeah.
I will definitely check it out. Awesome. Wow. So, what an incredible show. And we've been talking about how music can break through the thickest walls we build. And, I've been breaking down this wall for the last 10 plus years that I've been building. And I built a huge wall, probably bigger than the China Wall. But, I'm getting through it, and I just got to remind myself all the time now that music is definitely, and I listen to a lot of music. I mean, the only thing that I even ever watch on television besides nature shows is all these music programs that are on. And I don't know if you noticed, everybody noticed, there's more and more music programs coming on onto commercial television. Which really displays, and I welcome it because it displays everybody's creativity and everybody's passion, and it's absolutely fantastic. I mean, I love it. I can't not to sit in front of it and be present to how great people can be. I mean, it's just a constant reminder.
Yeah, you're right, Steve.
There's no limit. I mean, there's people. I thought I saw somebody performing that there's no better performance than that there can be, and then a week or two later, there she or he is.
Somebody else.
Somebody else is better.
But it's just amazing how much talent is out there that we have not discovered. And we see, as you say, Steve, the talent on television, which just merely an hour and merely just a few people. But then it's so vast when you see the audition they go through, and there's hundreds and hundreds of people auditioning to get on The Voice or
tens of
music
thousands.
thing. And
for each one.
they're all talented people, so we do have an abundance of people out there that do want to sing, that do have a voice, and it's just sad that we don't hear them or see them all, but I think we're getting closer. And I think with people like you, Pamela, is bringing out something a little more inspirational, a little bit deeper as to what music is and the lyrics and the words and where it can actually, which I was saying earlier, different musics for different parts of the day, but you're putting people into a place where it's so honest and truthful and getting truly inside your body.
Yeah, and I'm going to be completely controversial, and to both of those, what you just said there about the TV shows, I have to quote Amadeus, Murray Schafer's play, where he said, "Goodness is nothing in the furnace of art." And I want to bring that in because I actually feel like, yes, there's a place for those television shows, but it's again a competition. And I have to say, from my heart, I'm grateful that people will sit on their couch and be inspired, but at the end of the day, I want everyone to contact their own voice and their own ability to use a simple phrase, a simple song, just contacting your breath. Whether it's in the shower where you're not going to feel you're judged, or in the car where you can turn a song up loud, I am on a mission to not have anybody be sitting on the couch and watching somebody else do it because they're good or better or had lessons, or to me that's actually that's again the world of the ego and separation, and I want unity of sound and of music, and that's why I wrote in that song, each soul with a note to play, here where we belong at the pearly gates of song. When that came to me as a download, we don't have to die to understand that we are absolutely divine beings that have come here to create in whatever way that is. Now, it may be your way of creating may be dancing, singing, painting, baking a cake, planting a garden, being with children and being completely down on your knees and loving them. It doesn't have to be one specific thing, but my whole thing about the unity of the expressive arts, and in my world it's music and sound, is to get everybody just to get really comfortable with their own ability to self-soothe and self-care with music. And I just did a workshop with, do you people know Gary Malkin of Wisdom of the World?
I've heard of him, yes.
Okay, so he's based in San Francisco, and I just did a bold thing, and last 6 months ago phoned up the Stratford Festival here and said, you need this man to come here, and we need to do a concert and workshop together as part of the theme at the Stratford Festival this year was madness. And I said, I'd like us to do a concert and a workshop based on using music as a way to navigate the darkness of the madness of the mind, to bring light and solace through sound. So we did. We just did the workshop yesterday and the concert the day before. And Gary does the most amazing meditations, and he works with John Cryer from HeartMath, and we just went in this collaboration, and it was just like, whoa, and he said, oh my God, you're the sister from the other mother, and I said, you're the brother from, like, we're both doing the same work of helping people connect to something so simple. And we did an exercise having people just create a little prayer with their name in it in the first person. So Linda, what would be your prayer for something that you want right now in your life to experience more of?
I don't know. I feel like I've got it all.
Okay, then there's somebody on the panel then that would.
Yeah, well, I can relate to that a lot with what I'm doing right now with the sonnets I'm writing, and the creativity, and it's just a matter of doing it, actually. We sometimes don't recognize what we have within ourselves, and I think everybody has a little poetry, a little sort of lyric thing, and it's like when Steve was saying all these shows, and I think your message out there, Pamela, giving these people, they don't always have to be on stage or in a competition. They can actually do it themselves, and with the computer now, you can do it yourself with nobody watching you, nobody nobody criticizing you, nobody doing anything, but for you to be able to be yourself. So I've created this new thing I'm doing and realizing that, like you said, you're walking through the fields and words just come. And it's funny when you start writing, it's weird to me because the words just seem to creep out of you and then they sort of get onto paper and all of a sudden, wow, this sounds really cool. And it's come from your heart, it's come from your within without anybody or anything planning it or doing it. It's just something that comes up and goes out. And I think,
So I just got a prayer for you, okay? Just as you were talking, I just got a prayer for you.
Oh, great. I love them. I love angels and prayers. Go ahead.
May Nina know she is the sonnet. May Nina, and then we get a rhythm. May Nina know she is the sonnet. And then you, whatever way, if you would like to craft a melody for it for you.
Oh, I will.
May Nina know she is the sonnet. And then you can keep going. May Nina know she is the sonnet. And your hands on your heart. May Nina know she is the sonnet. And you do it in the third person because it's very powerful to speak about yourself as it's
as a third person.
And you know, so we did that exercise and we held our hands up and we did it in a kind of like holy praise the Lord Sunday morning thing. And the energy that people received as they said their name and their prayer and what they wished to receive, it was amazing. And I have to say that, you know, you're talking about the digital age and how when we stop looking outside of ourselves and for the externals and using sound and using music as a way in, I have this 4 CD set called Giving Voice to the Heart, and it's mantra and music and poetry and some Sanskrit mantra for the heart and the throat chakra, because I don't know if you people know this, I'm sure you have experienced it, but the more you're in your heart, the more you feel loving and present and grounded and relaxed, it completely reflects the quality and the timbre of your voice. Your voice responds. When the heart is open, the voice is like melodious nectar, and you become magnetic. So there was a woman in Pennsylvania who came across my CD set last year, and she was very, very ill with congestive heart failure. Smoked for 40 years, and she was about to go to the hospital. And long story short, she wrote to me and she said, I ordered your CD set online. I've listened to all of the CDs through and through, and I'm starting to work with the exercises. And I'm finally starting to understand how I have given my power away to people's opinions and judgments outside of myself, and I am slowly winding my way back to loving myself because I'm giving voice to my own heart. And by the way, I quit smoking. And she basically told me that within 6 months, she quit 6 times. It was hard, but her health improved. And you know, over the year, it's been so gratifying to me because this woman's so deeply connected to the work, and it was a tool for her. She's been very immobile and shut in her apartment, and she literally writes to me and says, I'm listening to your Maiden Bhavana loving kindness meditation, and that's 17 minutes, and I'm good for the day, you know. But she's using it. She's not just listening and walking away. She's embodying it. She's practicing it. So that's where I say it can be medicine. It can be so healing. And
I think, Pam, what you're saying too is something that's a guy did it here in Australia that anyone can do in a country. He had an idea that if he was to go right around Australia and he could find everyone he says has a beautiful voice within them, and he wanted them to just be able to come together and sing for their health, sing for their love, sing for their life, just sing.
Yes.
And he got a grant from the Australian government to go around Australia, and he might find, like north of here, he found a guy that plays beautiful piano. So this grant provides a little bit of money to allow the piano player to get paid, and it brings people. And we've got massive choirs now of people that are just having fun through music all around Australia. It's absolutely huge.
Beautiful.
My sister's involved with a choir of 77 women. My dad just turned 90. He still
Yes.
sings every day, all day.
Wow.
He sings, in my car, I'll pick him up. He's singing, walking down the corridor. He just sings. His grandson sings. It's just, I've had music. I've been fortunate to have music in my life, my whole life.
Yeah.
And when I went to America and did my degrees, my parents sent me, they sang on a CD and sent it to me.
Yes.
Of my mother harmonizing with my father, and it just brought tears. It was just like that. It was just like they were there in the room, and that music just brings you everything. And anyway, it's created a massive sense of music in all around Australia from one guy's idea. So you guys can do it.
Beautiful, beautiful. And your example of your father is so brilliant because it's true. People that have music in their life, you literally, we know that when we are in our isness, when we are in that place where we are, when the tennis player's at the top of his game and he's, beyond space and time, or whether it's the artist or the potter with his clay and the wheel, we literally, time and space are an illusion. And when we can contact that place where we are in higher dimensions beyond space and time, we don't age.
It's funny you're talking about how everything is in rhythm. Like when you play tennis, you're in rhythm.
Yeah.
When you're doing pottery, you're in rhythm.
Absolutely.
And when you're dancing, it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Everything has that rhythm, which, although it's not an actual piano playing, it's still the rhythm there that creates this incredible being.
You're right, Nino. And you know what you just absolutely put a beautiful point to is that, and it gets you out of your mind into your body where you're connected, because it's the tyranny of the mind that weakens us. And I heard something beautiful the other day that said, wisdom is avoiding all thoughts that weaken you. And the fact is we're human and we have thoughts. We have doubts, we have fears, they come by and they wash through us. But I tell you, when you are engaged in an activity that brings you joy, and music is one of the biggest ways to raise your joy vibration, your mind takes a rest.
What came to me, Pamela, is that the mind is a great thing to waste.
Is it great what?
Thing to waste.
Yeah.
Majority people do, but
so we have I guess already proven that we have the capability and the capacity to transform time and space because our conscious hour is over. So we don't have to look very far. It seemed like this was 5 minutes or less. So here we go. We're at the end of the show. Pamela, I want to thank you very much for being this incredible, passionate singer and songwriter, and a sound healer in the world. And what you're doing is tremendous. I mean, my hat. If I had a hat, I would take it off right now, but I don't. But I'm still taking it off. So you're amazing. That's all I can say.
I bow to you.
And to all of our viewers, if there's something that we said and did today that touched, moved, and inspired you, please keep going to consciousevolutionmedia.com and also go to our YouTube channel where you can keep watching these shows and make sure that this show gets to the top 10 so we can take it to public television. So I appreciate you all. I acknowledge all of our cast members for engaging in this wonderful subject of how music can break through the thickest walls that we build. Thank you all, and I love you all, and we'll see you next week, same place, same time.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Pamela. Thank you, Steve.
Love you
It was
too.
a joy to be on the show. Thank you all.
Amazing. Thank you.
I bow to you. Thank you.